Batteries fully charged. Launch ready for AEW Spark in 3, 2, 1. All Elite Wrestling discussion is live. Cue host Owen Finch.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to AEW Spark for September 14th, 2022. And I'm here with my special guest. You can't see him. You can only hear him. So he's basically like he's haunting my house, like he's a ghost or something. Like he's just doing voiceover work. I'm here with...
Chris, my first time on the show.
Sort of.
Because we did it yesterday, and the audio fucked us over big time.
Yeah, so we basically wasted 2.5 hours, actually, maybe 3, because we gabbed for a bit before the show. So we basically wasted 3 hours of our lives yesterday because technology sucks. So
for some reason, Discord doesn't want to be accommodating.
Yeah, it's not even Discord, it's the screen recorder app I use, because what happened is the second I put my headphones in, you couldn't hear any of us. It was as if, like, you know, you basically heard what you would have heard if you were in the same room with us on headphones. So nothing, pretty much.
Yeah.
So isn't that fantastic? So now we have to do the whole show all over again. So basically, Chris and I are basically doing the same show, except we're including the AEW Dark review. So
just a quick recap this time instead of going through the whole fucking thing.
No, we'll go through the whole thing. Why not? We got the time. I changed my mind. We're doing the whole thing.
Boo!
I forgot my all out notes, by the way. Where's all out? That's right. I swerved you. I changed my mind.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Nope, we're doing it.
No, quit.
All right, we'll do a quick recap. So, all right. So for the quick recap, like I said, because we don't want we don't want to waste another 2 hours of our lives in case this doesn't work. So we're gonna do a quick recap of everything. So sorry if this is the greatest video in the world. We're gonna review All Out first. Just do a quick recap of it. Yeah, we had Excalibur, Taz, and Tony Schiavone on commentary for it. For the 0 hour, they replaced the buy-in now with 0 hour because Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor, and that was Ring of Honor's version of the pre-show was 0 hour. So, yeah, they were on commentary. I think Taz didn't join into like the All Atlantic Championship match. You missed the first 2 matches, so we can't really go into detail about them. So how about this? I'll just run through the 0 hour real quick, and you could just kind of give your thoughts on everything afterwards. So it opened up with the AAA World Mixed Tag Team Championships. It was Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello defended against Ortiz and Ruby Soho. Backstage, Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello were getting interviewed, and they were talking about how they're going to be the best couple in AEW and walk out with the AAA World Mixed Tag Team Championships and say that they're going to celebrate afterwards. And if you've seen what they did with the TNT title, you know what their version of celebration means. And meanwhile, Ortiz and Ruby Soho were backstage with the golf cart, and they ran over Sammy Guevara. They did that spot again. They do that spot like every year. I love it when they do it every year. I think people loved it more this year because they don't like Sammy Guevara. And they brawled to the ring, and then when the match finally started, they ended up just having one hell of a match with each other. It was really good. It was very good stuff. Eventually, Anna JAS interfered, and and allowed Sammy Guevara to hit the go to hell on Ortiz for the win. And Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello retained the championships. I gave the match 3 3/4 stars. I thought it was very good. I would have had Ortiz and Ruby Soho win. I thought it would have been a nice feel good win to have them win because they haven't really gained an advantage over Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello, and I thought it would have been kind of something different to have them as the AAA World Mixed Tag Team Champions, but I guess it is what it is. I give the match 3 3/4 stars. Very good stuff. Then we had Hook defend his FTW championship against Cool Hand, Angelo Parker. Good stuff here. It was probably the most competitive match Hook has had, other than that tag match that he had when he teamed up with Danhausen to face Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling, but he didn't really. It was mainly Danhausen that took the heat. Yeah, good stuff here. Hook ended up making Cool Hand Angelo Parker tap out to the red one. Then afterwards, Big Daddy, whatever his nickname is, Magic Matt Minogue attacked Hook, and it led to a 2-on-1 assault by 2.0. And then Action Bronson, who was in the crowd, who performs Hook's theme song, came in and helped Hook fight him off. He looked pretty decent out there. It looks like that they're going to set up a match between Hook and Action Bronson versus 2.0, which at Bobby Arthur Ashe Stadium, which we'll talk about that some more because, I thought that's going to be pretty enjoyable. I gave the match 3 stars. I thought it was a good match. Then this is where you came in, Chris. This is where you started watching the show. We had the All-Atlantic Championship match. It was Pac defending against Kip Sabian. One hell of a match here. This was Kip Sabian's first match back. I don't know about in wrestling period, but definitely in AEW. He's been stalking Pac for a while, and they just ended up really tearing the house off with each other. Pac ended up getting the win with the Black Arrow. He made Kip Sabian tap out. And then afterwards, Pac got interviewed, and he talked about being the All-Atlantic champion. And they basically mirrored the interview that they did over 2 years ago when Orange Cassidy confronted him, which led to Orange Cassidy's first match in AEW. They basically did that, except this time Pac walked off, which I'll talk about it now. It set up the interview later in the show where it set up their 6-man tag match, which ended up being a more important match than we thought it was going to be. With Best Friends and Orange Cassidy versus Death Triangle. So I thought this was a great match. Yeah, I'll give it 4 stars. Then we had the main event of 0 Hour. It was Eddie Kinston versus Tomo Ishii. This is the rematch that they had from one of the New Japan shows. I think it was the one they had in Chicago. I don't know. I don't remember the name of it because I didn't see it. And these two went to war here. It was one hell of a match. We had a lot of chop-offs in this match. I just love watching Ishi wrestle every time. The biggest thing I like watching him is when he gets the shit kicked out of him and he just walks. He just basically no-sells it and everything. I thought it was awesome. Eventually, Eddie Kinston hit the spinning back fist onto Ishi, and he pinned him right away. He fell right onto him and got the win on Ishi, and afterwards they showed respect for each other. I thought it was a hell of a match here. It was definitely worth watching. I gave it like 4 3/4 stars. It was great stuff. And I think they should do a rematch. They should have, because it's basically a best of 3. They both have a victory over each other, and I think whether that's on Dynamite or a New Japan show or whatever, they should have a rematch. But yeah, great match there. I give it 4 3/4 stars. So yeah, anything you want to talk about that happened on 0 Hour? Any critiques and your star ratings and everything?
I give the first match like 2.5 stars. I didn't like the way that Sammy and Tay wrestled that match. Super sloppy. At one point, they dropped Ruby Red on her fucking head.
Oh yeah, what's led to her injury?
Just sloppy work by the both of them, which is nothing new to them. Hook and Angelo Parker, it's an enhanced squash match basically for Hook. Didn't have any problems with it. Angelo Parker can sell like a motherfucker, so that's good for him. Pac, and I'll give that 3 stars. I do like the Action Bronson thing at the end. I feel like he could. The tag match would be fine. It could keep him like not I can't think of it, but keep him protected. That's it.
Yeah.
Keep him protected and not like expose him. Pac vs. Kip Sabian was really fucking good, but again, I said this on the lost recording. It's pretty
That you never hear.
pretty weird that it's Kip Sabian fighting for the All Ninja Championship because he's literally not had a match in AEW since he's been out with injury.
Yeah.
That was like a year ago, a year and a half ago now, maybe. It's been so long. And then he comes back and then randomly gets a championship match. I thought that was a bit bizarre.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Kip's really good. I have zero problems with him being in the match. I would just like a bit more of a story than him. Oh, I'm looking at Pac from a distance. But
he did cost him the trios tournament match though. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, that's that too. Forgot about that. But other than that, like there's been no build up.
Yeah.
It's one week. Kingston versus Ishi. I had to give that match a 4, but Kingston and Ishi, I give that a 4.5 stars. This match was really good. Really, really good. I feel like strong style. If you love strong style, this is your type of match. Hard hitting, very snug, really good. Overall,
right.
I thought the 0 Hour was pretty decent.
Yeah.
Nothing spectacular besides the last 2 matches were really, really good, but the first 2 were hit or miss. A glorified squash match and a match with 2 people who were unsafe. So, yeah.
You definitely probably could have cut out the first 2 matches probably and just had the other 2 matches.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Easily.
That could have been a 2-match 0 Hour or buy-in pre-show, whatever, between Pac and Kip for the title, and then Eddie Kingston versus Ishi. I feel like that would have been fine.
But yeah, definitely AEW doesn't mess around with the buy-ins. I don't think they've had like a bad buy-in yet. I think the worst buy-in match was the tag match that I think it was like Sheeta. It was at Full Gear last year. It was like Sheeta and somebody else versus Serena Deeb and like Jamie Hayter or something. I think it was Thunder Rosa that was in the tag match actually, where Sheeta forgot to show her leg that the leg injury that she was supposed to have. I don't even think I have the participants right because I don't think Deeb was even in the match, but I remember it was when they were doing that TBS Women's Tournament. Like they had all 4 of them in a tag match. So, but yeah, going over the actual show itself. The commentary team was the same up until like I would probably say the the trios match with FTR and Wardlow. I think Jim Ross came in and replaced Shivani by that point. I know at some point it happens where JR comes in and replaces Shivani. I just don't exactly remember when it happens, but poor Shivani, he has to leave his seat just so JR can get his TV time. Poor Shivani, man.
Poor Shivani gets the fucking shit under the stick.
Yeah. Like freaking Taz, man. You haven't been doing commentary as long as them. Excalibur kind of has to be there because he's play-by-play, but yeah. Taz, you should be giving that type of stuff up. What are you doing, man? Like, so yeah, I kicked off with the casino ladder match. It started with Willa Yuta versus Ray Phoenix. They really went to town on each other. Ray Phoenix got pushed off the top turnbuckle, and he just missed the ladder that was leaned up against the barricade or guardrail. And then eventually Willa Yuta hit a suicide dive, which caused Ray Phoenix to go through it. And then the next entrant came out. It was Roosh. And I don't think Roosh was really all concerned about winning this match because he came out and did like his whole entrance, but while Ray Phoenix and Willa Yuta were going for the chip. So I don't think Roosh. I mean, I guess you find out later why that happens, but I don't. Roosh could have. Basically, Roosh could have just done his whole entrance.
He could have done his entrance, and the match would have been over.
Yeah, I said this in the last recording. It was the reverse Mustafa Ali Money in the Bank thing, basically. Where Mustafa Ali could have won the Money in the Bank briefcase had he had just grabbed the case before Brock Lesnar came down, because he easily could have grabbed that before Brock came down. That's basically what this was. And then apparently too, he doesn't care. He has all these ladders and everything around him. Apparently, the biggest weapon he likes is the cable wires too. So Woosh is a weird. He's a weird guy. And then eventually Claudio Castagnoli comes out, and him and Willa Yuta work together because they're in the Blackpool Combat Club together. And then Andrade El Zero, that's not the right name at all. Andrade El Idolo came out. Look at me combining two names.
I mean, at one point he tried to put them into the group.
Yeah, so, him and Roos worked together. They did a spot where Claudio Castagnoli tipped the ladder over, and the ladder was like digging into Andrade El Idolo's groin, and he ended up tipping over. So I don't think Andrade El Idolo is having any kids anytime soon. So, And then eventually Penta El Zero Miedo came out, and they did a thing for a while with Roosh, Andrade El Idolo, and the Lucha Brothers together. They did a spot eventually where Ray Phoenix did a splash onto Roosh through a table on the outside, and Penta El Zero Miedo did the Fear Factor destroyer to Roosh through a ladder at like the same time, which was cool. Dante Martin came out. We talked about this in the last recorded. His performance in this match was very disappointing. Like, you could tell the match was off once he came out. Like, everyone had to get, like, he almost got hit in the back of the head with a ladder. That wasn't good. He did a moonsault and didn't really hit anybody. So I was kind of disappointed with Dante Martin's performance in the match. And then eventually, because I think he was, like, the last guy entrant that wasn't the Joker, we see a masked guy, a guy in a hood, tip the ladder over, and everybody that's joined up with Stokely Hathaway being Austin and Colton Gunn, Lee Moriarty, W. Morrissey, and Ethan Page all came out and beat down basically everyone that like was moving around them, except the fans, obviously. And the guy in the hood climbed the ladder, grabbed the chip, and because he wasn't the Joker, he didn't win the match. And then the Joker came out, and I said this in the lost recording. You're going to hear that reference a lot in this video, the lost recording. A guy, basically, if you've seen Jeff Cobb and Lucha Underground, basically that was the attire that this person had when he came down. And Stokely Hathaway, because at this point he had already revealed himself, handed this guy the chip, and the guy teased like he was going to unmask himself, but then he went like this, like saying you got to wait for it. And this guy, the Joker, and Stokely Hathaway's group all walked to the back. And at this point, we didn't know who the Joker was, but we would find out later on in the show. Hell of a ladder match here. I gave it 4 3/4 stars. What do you think of this casino ladder match?
I gave it the same. It was really good. I liked a lot of the same things that you did, like the Fear Factor, Canadian Destroyer, and then Phoenix did the splash through the table. That was probably one of my favorite spots in that match entirely. The Joker's pretty predictable who the Joker was.
Yeah.
Like, it was obvious. You could tell the way that they walk, the way they get in the ring. It's Max. It's really obvious. They did a very, very piss poor job of keeping that a secret. Everyone kind of knew who it was. But the match itself was just really good.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. But yeah, I give the same star rating. Dante Martin definitely was a disappointment. The fact that he almost got destroyed by the ladder at one point. I think when he did his little flippy-doo and then the ladder fell down on top of him. The ladder was coming down in slow motion, looked like.
Yeah.
Hit him. But I thought he was going to be doing some crazy shit, and he didn't really do as much as I thought he would.
I think mainly because I think mainly because he kept fucking up.
That's that too. That too.
And you know what? He's a professional because he doesn't. I think he allows the criticism because he doesn't go on social media afterwards. When you let's see if you get this reference. He doesn't go on social media afterwards when we critique the appearance in the match and bury the fans pretty much. Did you get that reference?
Yeah.
So at least he's being a professional about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going over the next match. It was this match means nothing, like we talked about in the last recording. It was the finals in the AEW World Trios Championship Tournament. It was Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus Heyman, Adam Page, and the Dark Order. Because Heyman, Adam Page took 10 and then eventually Evil Uno's place. And I basically buried in the last record. I'm not going to do that here because we're not going to talk about it now. I basically was calling Evil Uno a loser because he couldn't even survive getting hit with a clutch on Dynamite. So still a loser. Not as big of a loser as a certain someone we're gonna talk about later in the show, but that's kind of a loser move right there. Yeah, this is just a hell of a match here. A lot of callbacks to basically the very foundation of AEW, since the elite part of it have been the carrying force around AEW. At least that's not going to be the case for a while, but ever. They did a lot of things where they would tease Heyman, Adam Page, and Kenny Omega going back at it for the first time since Full Gear, but they didn't really go at it till like about the last maybe 12 minutes or so to the match, so I like how they saved that. The Bucks and Omega were coming into the match hurt due to the attack by United Empire. So when John Silver was attacking the back of I think it was Nick, Heyman, Adam Page tagged himself in to basically save Nick Jackson because he didn't want him to get further injured. Eventually, all this, basically Heyman, Adam Page, and John Silver and Alex Reynolds weren't getting along throughout the beginning portions of this matchup. So it allowed the Elite to get the heat on John. I think it was actually Heyman, Adam Page. They did a swanton bomb off of the turnbuckle, like an assisted one too, into a neck breaker, while Heyman, Adam Page was crouched up against the apron. And they really got the heat. Actually, I think it was Reynolds, actually, not Heyman, Adam Page. They really got the heat on him for a while. At one point in the match, Tony Schiavone kept screwing up by accident because he was like so into the match. He kept calling Taz Excalibur. So I think Taz is like, as like a shoot, but also kind of joking around, said, I'm Taz. I'm Teflon Taz. I'm not Excalibur. I understand we sound alike, but I'm not Excalibur. I'm not Excalibur. Like, I think he got sick of the fact that Tony Schiavone kept screwing it up. It didn't also help that we had four, because I think at this point we had 4 people on the booth, because I think Don Callis was on commentary during this match. So I probably...
Yeah, because usually on Kenny's matches, he's on commentary.
Yeah. Eventually, Heyman, Adam Page got the hot tag, and John Silver got the hot tag, and he's probably got like one of the best hot tags in the business. He's just really going off on everybody. And then eventually we got the face-off with Heyman, Adam Page, and Kenny Omega. They did a recall. I don't think that's the right term for it. From the past, when Heyman, Adam Page went for the Buckshot Lariat on Kenny Omega, and they teased as if one of the Bucks was going to hold Heyman, Adam Page's leg, so to prevent him from going for the Buckshot Lariat. And this is obviously a spot that they've done. This is how Heyman, Adam Page cost the Young Bucks to become #1 contenders and got Heyman, Adam Page kicked out of the Elite. And then obviously this cost Heyman, Adam Page the world title all that time ago, before All Out last year. So I love how they did a recall of that. And this time he saw it coming. Eventually, though, Heyman, Adam Page went for the Buckshot Lariat, and he inadvertently hit John Silver, and Kenny Omega took advantage of it, covered him, and the Bucks were holding Heyman Adam Page back so he couldn't break up the pinfall. And Kenny Omega and the Elite became the first ever AEW Trios champions. Hell of a match here. Love the storytelling. Love the callbacks. And I still give it 4 3/4 stars. Because it was still a hell of a match. It just sucks that this match really doesn't mean as much as it did when it happened. So, what were your thoughts on it?
I thought it was an excellent match. Again, like, it's 6 really good wrestlers wrestling in there. Lots of chemistry, obviously, between Hangman and in the Elite, and the Dark Order in the Elite. Tons of chemistry there. They've wrestled a lot over the last few years, and along even before. Great match. I give it 4.5 stars, even with everything included in that, which I'm pretty sure we'll get to. But it means nothing now. But it's a great match. Absolutely great.
Then we had the TBS Women's Championship match. Jade Cargill defending against Athena. This was the cooldown match of the show. We talked about this in the last recording. I think Jade's been the cooldown matches in the pay-per-view matches when she's defending that title. Because I'm pretty sure she was the cooldown match at Double or Nothing, I'm pretty sure. But at Revolution, I think, too.
I think she always is.
She had a special entrance where she was dressed as the Hulk and smashed through this wall, because that's what the Hulk does in all of his movies and everything. And she came out with the baddies, and it was a good match. Athena took it to Jade right away. She hit the old face immediately in like the first 4 minutes into the match. But Jade Cargill just barely survived. Kiera Hogan pulled her out of the ring. And the second that happened, I knew I had a feeling Athena was losing, because usually if you hit your finisher right away, there's no way you're gonna win.
It's 0% chance.
And Kiera Hogan blamed Layla Gray for doing it, so Layla Gray got laid out. And then after about another few minutes or so, Athena went for a second face, but it got counted into the Jaded. Jade covered her, retained the TBS Women's Championship, and they made a point that Layla Gray basically isn't going to be in the baddies anymore, because she didn't leave with Jade and Kiera Hogan. She was still laid out and everything. They didn't carry her out of there or anything like that. So, good match here. I give it 3 stars. It's easily Jade's match, best match that she's had in AEW. I would say the only match that probably would top it is the match she had with Thunder Rosa in the tournament finals, or the match she had with Ruby Soho. Notice the trend here of all the good matches Jade's had, by the way.
Yeah, not many.
No, I was saying the trend is it's all wrestlers that, are like these great indie stars and everything like that. So I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was a good match. I just don't understand why Jade retained the title, because the only reason I would be alright with it is if Sasha Banks or Naomi were coming in and you wanted to have one of them beat her for the title. But I think it's pretty clear with the reports, unless they completely swerve us, that Sasha Banks and Naomi aren't coming in. So I don't really understand, why this result happened, because Athena was red hot. She was ready to beat the streak. And it just was not to be. And with what we're going to talk about later, it doesn't look like they're going to continue this feud or anything like that, because Athena's doing other things now. So I give it 3 stars. Your thoughts on it?
Not good. I think it's been long overdue that Jade loses. I'm not a big fan of streaks in wrestling. It's stupid, especially once it gets up to be where Jade is right now, and then it's just okay, she has to lose sometime, because she's literally making everyone else weak around her. But I give it 2.5 stars, maybe 1.5. 1.5. It was just terrible. Like, it's just becoming, like, rudimentary, like, at this point. Like, everyone who faces you always wins. I'm like, all right, enough.
Yo.
It doesn't make anyone look good. Match doesn't even go fucking 5 minutes. The Goldberg treatment.
So the question I have for you is, since you don't like streaks, did you not like the Undertaker's WrestleMania undefeated
Terrible.
streak?
Needed to end.
Wow. Shooting on the hot there.
Yeah.
I never knew that. Huh?
Just kidding.
Oh. Because that would have been a really weird opinion, that because I think everyone like loved the streak, so you'd be like the only one. Then CM Punk got interviewed, and he basically said that Chicago's going to shut down if he doesn't win this AEW World Championship tonight. He says he's fighting for Chicago. And considering how he acted backstage later in the show, I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't win this belt and he basically forced Chicago to shut down. Like, I would not be surprised. Good interview here by Punk. It's probably going to be, it's going to be his last kayfabe interview for a while at least. Then we had the second of 3 trios matches, actually. It was FTR and Wardlow versus Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns. It was really awesome to see Motor City Machine Guns in AEW, to see them team up with Jay Lethal one last time, and to see FTR and Motor City Machine Guns lock up, because that's a match I didn't realize I would want until it finally happened. So I thought it was awesome. Great stuff here. It's really weird because I'm pretty sure the Motor City Machine Guns are faces on Impact, but are going to be. But I think but they were heels on this show, so it's really kind of weird how that happened.
Yeah, that's weird.
We just talked about that like right before we recorded this too, about somebody else too.
Yeah.
Somebody else in another place that we can't talk about here because it's banned because it's not it's a different company. So. But yeah, great match here. The heels got the heat on Dax Howard for a while, and then eventually Wardlow got the hot tag. He hit like 10 power bombs. It wasn't probably 10, but it was like a lot of power bombs, and murdered Jay Lethal pretty much. Like Jay Lethal, I don't think it's been seen since All Out. Like I think we need to send a church party out for him after this. And Wardlow pinned Jay Lethal. So great match there. I gave it 4 stars. Afterwards, we forgot to talk about this in the last recorded, but technically that never happened. So we get to redo ourselves here.
Yeah.
Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt went to beat down FTR and Wardlow, and Samoa Joe made his return, and he clocked Satnam Singh twice with the Ring of Honor World Television Championship, and I think he got busted open from this because from one of the shots, because he was bleeding afterwards. And then afterwards, he put Sanjay Dutt into the ring, and FTR and everyone took turns taking shots at Sanjay Dutt, and then Finlay, Dax Howard's daughter, not the wrestler Finlay, came out and basically, I think hit a shot herself and pinned Sanjay Dutt and broke his pencil, which is like, I understand why she did it because he was making comments about it, but I think that was too far. You don't break somebody's pencil. That's way too far. You don't do that. It's like breaking somebody's it's like breaking someone's glasses. You don't do that either. Like what are these people doing breaking glasses and breaking pencils? Like
cruel people is what they are.
Yeah. And then I don't think it counts, but I'm gonna count it anyways. Finlay has a victory over Sanjay Dutt. Sanjay Dutt's gonna have to live with that for the rest of his life.
Good.
So I thought it was a hell of a match and a hell of a storyline here. The weirdest thing about it though was when Samoa Joe returned, they tried to make it seem like he hasn't gotten his revenge already on Jay Lethal. He's like, we haven't seen Samoa Joe since Double or Nothing, when he showed up at ROH Death Before Dishonor and choked him out and retained his television title. Like he acted like that. They acted like that never happened apparently. So I guess
in their universe. So what they think of Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Your thoughts on the match? the post match and them forgetting that Samoa Joe apparently wrestled within the past couple of months.
Good. He was doing a TV show.
I know, but they acted like he hadn't shown up at all.
They acted like he was dead.
Yeah.
They didn't talk about him for a long ass time. I thought that match was a good match. Again, it's probably the last time on like a big pay-per-view stage, I guess, for the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah.
Which I'm not too, they've been a tag team for an insanely long time. They're probably closer to the end than they are at the beginning.
Yeah.
It was a really good match. I give it 4 stars.
And
Finley winning at the end.
Yeah.
A+, 5 stars.
What about
her pencil too? Even better.
What the heck? You were just talking about how you don't do that type of stuff, and now you supported it?
It's a little girl. I changed my mind.
What if it was the wrestler Finley that broke the pencil? Would you say something?
That's mean. She's a child. She doesn't know any better.
Dax Howard's gonna raise his daughter better then. Then we had the next match. It was Ricky Starks, or as JR likes to call him, Ricky Starks. Versus versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Why do I feel like he messed up one time, so he just goes with it that time when he called him Ricky Starks? I feel like he just...
The fact that he just is old and continuously messes up people's names.
I know.
Like the time that on the Jericho Cruise, he called MJF Michael Jacob Friedman.
I saw that the best mess up he's ever had. It was like the last episode of Dynamite during the pandemic. He called it WWE Dynamite.
He also called the WWE Championship too.
I don't know what's going on. But anyhow, this was a really good match here. It was shorter than I wanted it to be. I feel like they should have saved this match for Arthur Ashe Stadium, or the go home week, or this. I guess they couldn't do it last week because the show had to be rewritten the last minute. You probably could have done it on Rampage or something, considering the fact what ended up main evented Rampage. Really good match here. Powerhouse Hobbs uses power, because he's a powerhouse, to dominate Ricky Starks throughout the beginning portions of the matchup. Ricky Starks had a little bit of a comeback, but Powerhouse Hobbs stopped that right away and hit a spine buster onto Ricky Starks, got the win. I'm fully in agreement with Powerhouse Hobbs winning because I think Ricky Starks, if he loses, it doesn't hurt him as much. You just had Powerhouse Hobbs turn heel and basically break up Team Taz. I feel like he needs a big win, especially if you want to build up future challenges for Wardlow's TNT Championship. So I thought it was really good. I gave it 3.5 stars, and you can always run this back in 3 years if you wanted to, which they probably won't run it back for 3 years. So, what was your thoughts on this match?
I felt like we got shortchanged in this match. It went just over 5 minutes, and this match could have gone 15. Right person won in the end. I wouldn't have been upset with Powerhouse winning again, but I felt like those two deserved a match that was about 10 minutes long.
Absolutely.
I felt we got gypped in that one because that could have been. The match was fine as it was, short with Hobbs winning with the spine buster, but I feel like if that match was 10 minutes, it would have been a classic, or close to a classic.
What's the star rating?
4.
4. I thought, wow, you rated higher than me. I gave it 3.5.
3 actually.
Oh, you got me that. You got me on that one. So
it's 3. It's 3.5. I mean, it probably would have been 4 had the match gone just a bit longer.
Yeah. Then we had the sleeper match of the whole show. It was for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. Swerve and Our Glory defended against the Acclaim. The Acclaim were accompanied by Billy Gunn, Mr. Ass.
Daddy Ass.
Daddy Ass. I couldn't remember the nickname for a second. This was, a hell of a match here. I did not expect this match to be as good as it was just because of how last minute it was thrown onto the show and everything. And I never would have thought this. We talked about this. Like, it's so crazy how much, how in like a month's time, even like 2 months, if this match had happened 2 months ago, Swerve and Our Glory would have been like the easy baby faces. The Acclaim would have easily been booed out of the building.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
And now that's changed. Now it's, the Acclaimed are the ones that cheered, and Swerve and Our Glory are booed out of the building. But yeah, great match here. I really can't do it justice. You just have to sit down and watch this match for yourself to really know how good it is. Eventually, after so many near falls and everything, Swerve and Our Glory won with their tag finisher, the Spirit Bomb Blockbuster combination, and retained their belts. And afterwards, I have to say it again, Mr. Daddy Ass Billy Gunn had Keith Lee scissor him, and he went to get one for Swerve Strickland, but Swerve Strickland walked off. So it looks like Swerve Strickland's possibly turning heel, which we'll talk about some more when we review Dynamite, because it looks like he is kind of a heel, but Keith Lee's going to stay babyface, because we talked about, how we don't think Keith Lee, we think he could possibly be a good heel, but I don't think it's a wise idea to turn him heel. So I think it's a better idea to have Swerve Swerve Strickland be turn heel, because I think they're losing the belt soon anyways to this very team face. So
yeah,
great match here. I give it 4 3/4 stars. It was just a hell of a match.
I same thing. Like, this match was fantastic. It could have gone either way. I would have liked it had the Acclaimed won, but at the same time, I'm not upset that they lost, because Arthur Ashe is in New York, New Jersey, so it would be a bigger deal for Caster and Bowens, who are both from New York and New Jersey, in their hometown, in their home stadium, to win those titles at home. It would blow the roof off the place.
Absolutely.
And I think that's when they're going to do it. And I think you could honestly see, like, the full-fledged heel turn of Swerve Strickland. Like, after he loses, he, like, fakes the scissor and then beats the shit out of him.
Yeah. And then Keith Lee will, be like, what's going on? And either he'll turn or he'll get beaten down as well. We'll see.
I think they're going to go along the lines of, I think, not splitting up the team. And just keep it the way it is.
Yeah.
Have them both be heel. Which, again, Swerve can do it. Keith Lee, we'll see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Then we had the last women's match of the night. It was for the Fatal 4-Way match for the interim AEW Women's World Championship. It was Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Hikaru Shida. Great match here. Obviously, this match was on a bad spot in the show because it was after that excellent tag title match, so these women didn't stand a chance. They
didn't. They really didn't.
Yeah. A lot of the match at the beginning was Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Jamie Hayter working together to try to take out the faces, and it worked at one point. They hit a curb stomp on the Hikaru Shida onto the stage, which caused our conversation. We'll talk about that in a different video, how the curb stomp is just a move now. It's not really a big finisher or anything anymore. She was taken out of the match for a bit, so they worked over Toni Storm. Then Shida came out and evened the odds with a couple of kendo sticks, and eventually, after some chaos, Jamie Hayter had the match won at one point, but Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, pulled the referee out of the ring. So
a terrible friend.
Yeah, so it looks like that there's going to be some dissension there. And eventually, Toni Storm hit the Storm Zero, the power driver version of it, onto, I think Shida. No, it was Jamie Hayter, and became the new interim AEW Women's World Champion, which was the plan anyways. I think she was meant to turn heel, beating Thunder Rosa, but because Thunder Rosa got her injury, they're probably going to do the heel turn when they do that title-for-title unification match. Like, the 3 millionth title-for-title unification match this year for every wrestling company. We've had so many of them. So, I gave the match 4 stars. I thought it was great stuff. Especially, I gave it an extra star. Like, it's probably 3, but I gave it an extra star for the fact that Dr. Britt Baker DMD didn't win. So, great stuff.
I'm the same thing with you. I gave it an extra star in the lost archived video footage. That I'm just happy Britt didn't win. I'm sick and tired of seeing her in the woman's title picture every fucking time.
Yo.
And first of all, when they took the title off of Thunder Rosa, the piss poor excuse was she's not getting over. So the fact you never showcased her on TV as champion, instead,
Yeah, barely.
They barely even did it. She got when she relinquished in some ways the championship. She got less TV time than Bitter Phil did. He relinquished his championship. He got like 5 minutes, and she got like a minute. And she got like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? What's the point? Like, and then he'll go and shove Britt Baker down our throats again for the 700 millionth time. It's like, oh, this is the only person that can draw. I'm like, no, you have many women in this company that can draw. You just refuse to use them.
Yep. I mean, we talked about it in the last recording. Coming out of this match, and in that recording, anyways, we talked more about Dr. Britt Baker's DMD's split with Jamie Hayter in that recording than we did Toni Storm winning her first championship. So, what does that say? Even though Britt Baker didn't win, she still got talked about. She still was the most talked about thing coming out of that match.
It shouldn't have been.
Yeah. I noticed, by the way, you don't call her Dr. Britt Baker DMD. It's just Britt Baker. It's just Britt Baker.
Britt Baker. That's her name. She's a fucking dentist. Not that special.
Go say that to your dentist next time you go.
You're not that special. Get over yourself. You're not a doctor.
Yeah. Then we had Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy. More of a storyline device than a match. Jungle Boy came out after Christian had made his entrance and everything. And Luchasaurus, he came out with a heel tunnel entrance, and the commentators and everything pointed that out. And he attacked Jungle Boy, chokeslammed him onto where the pyrotechnics are, destroying his back in the process. Put him in the ring. They had like about a 15-second match. Christian Cage covered him. Jungle Boy kicked out. Then he had a spear into the Emperor. Got the win. I liked it for the most part because this was before I knew Christian Cage was hurt and everything. I thought it was, a good storytelling element. I thought I could see everything that they were going. They were saving the match clearly. Because clearly Jungle Boy couldn't get his revenge here because, you needed to give Christian some heat. Now that we know that the Christian Cage injuries happened, he has a torn pec. He's going to be out of action for 6 to 8 months. I don't understand why they did this now because you can't use Christian Cage is legit not going to be on TV for like 6 to 8 months. The only way this
physical either.
Yeah, so the good thing we're going to get Jungle Boy versus Luchasaurus out of it, but now the problem is the main guy that will be his mouthpiece in the feud might not be there for a while. So
exactly, yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah,
why they I don't mind Christian winning. It's just that the fact that he's fucking hurt and going to be out for the next year, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Of him winning. I just don't get it. I just do not get it. Now I think he could go on with him being there and being at TV and not have to, like, worry about him getting physical, but he's just there to sell it.
But then the problem is you're going to carry the feud on way too long if you do that too. Like
exactly, yeah. So that's really they booked themselves into a corner.
Yeah. Honestly, they should have just called the match off. They should have just, they already had enough matches anyways. They should have called the match off and said Christian Cage is medically unable to compete, and you still could have had him come out there and just do a promo or something. Talking about how Jungle Boy prevented me from getting my hands on him and everything, how he's a coward and everything. Then Jungle Boy comes out, and you could have had like Luchasaurus just lay him out still, anyways, and everything. Like this should have been
that should have been exactly what they did.
So I don't understand what they did.
Or they could have had. I think because they rushed to the point because Christian was hurt. But what they could have done was had Luchasaurus pretend like he was on Jungle Boy's side, change back to his original gear.
Yeah.
And at the pay-per-view, Christian says something along the lines of like, I played with your emotions, I played with your head, and then have Luchasaurus beat the crap out of him. After he's already been Christian can compete.
Yeah.
After that, because that would have made more sense than Luchasaurus coming out a few weeks ago and being on Jungle Boy's side again.
Yeah.
They really rushed that too.
I know they did.
Just didn't make any sense.
Yeah. Then we had Chris Jericho versus Bryan Danielson. This is my favorite match of the whole show. Hell of a match here. Again, just go watch it. Really technical. It was Lionheart, Chris Jericho, and everything, so it was awesome. Eventually, Jericho cheated to get the win. He low-blowed Bryan Danielson, and he hit the Judas effect on him. Got the win. No issues with Jericho winning because, I feel like Bryan Danielson's just in the position in wrestling where he just wants to wrestle. He doesn't really care about winning or losing. And that could become a problem if he just keeps losing, but at the moment it's not a problem because, he's been putting people over and everything. We did talk about everything in the loss record and how it's so cool to see them wrestle again because they haven't wrestled each other in so long and everything. Then it led to later on backstage because after the match, all the Jericho Appreciation Society, except for Daniel Garcia, came out to celebrate with Jericho after he won. And he got interviewed by Shivani, Daniel Garcia did, later in the show. And he basically talked about how he doesn't know what to do with himself and all that type of stuff. And Jericho came up to him and asked why he didn't come out and celebrate with him. And Garcia basically said that Jericho took the cheap way out to win. He didn't win like he wanted him to. So Jericho basically, told Daniel Garcia because he was going to face Wheeler Yuta for the All-Weights Pure Championship on last week's Dynamite, since we're filming this, on Wednesday the 14th, that he's going to have to face Wheeler Yuta by himself without the Jericho Appreciation Society. And obviously, Garcia was a bit concerned about this because this puts in question his placement in the Jericho Appreciation Society. So
exactly, yeah.
Awesome stuff here, and I love the furtherization of Daniel Garcia because it looks like he's turning face. He's kind of already a baby face, but I feel like he's more of a he's more of a tweener right now. But I think he's gonna have a full-on baby face run.
He could if they go back.
Yeah, unless we find out this is all just a big swerve, and
which I think which I kind of think is going to happen anyway.
We'll see. What were your thoughts on the match and everything?
It was really good. Again, it's two veterans in the ring who have a lot of chemistry together, even though they haven't really wrestled a long time. It's just the chemistry's always been there, and it was really good. I get the same rating. Yeah.
Then we had the last trios match of the night. It was Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro versus House of Black. The blow-off now because of the leaders out of the company, unless they continue the feud with Julia Harpy and the leader. But they would, they'd have to take Miro out of it and everything. But great match here. Throughout the beginning portion of it, Miro, Sting, and Darby Allin weren't getting along. But eventually they were able to pull themselves together. And Sting hit the Black Mist right into the face of Malachi Black, which allowed Darby Allin to hit the Last Supper on Malachi Black for the win. And, Darby, Sting, and Miro won. But Miro wasn't satisfied with the win because he himself didn't get revenge on the House of Black. And now he won't because the leader of the company... The leader of the company. The leader of the group. The leader of the group.
The company leader himself.
How funny would that be if Malachi Black was... the leader of the company, and he was gone. The leader of the group is gone, so the group is right now is in question. But Still a great match. I gave it 4 stars. I definitely think it was somewhat of a blow-off, at least with the Darby Allin Stin things. I think they were going to move on to something else anyways. And I think
Yeah,
Rio...
they should. I mean, it's been going on for a while now.
I mean, they kind of had to throw this feud together a little bit because I think they were feuded with the Super Elite, but everybody got hurt. So they had to kind of throw this feud together a little bit. So, still a great stuff here. I gave it 4 stars. What would you think of this?
I give it 4 stars. It was good. Yeah, no real issues with it. It's the last match for Malachi. He did the goodbyes, and he's taking a little bit of a break.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we do the news section. Then we had the main event, not the show, so you can stay right here. You're staying right here. It was for the AEW World Championship. Jon Moxley defended against CM Punk. Hell of a match here. They really played into the fact that Jon Moxley was in enemy territory. And he didn't really wrestle any differently. He just didn't give a crap. He was flipping off fans and everything. He was mainly wrestling like a tweener. Hell of a match here. These two went to war with each other. Eventually, CM Punk hit 2 GTSs in a row and pinned Jon Moxley and became the new AEW World Champion. Afterwards, after he's all bloody and everything, the lights went out. A video played of CM Punk when he was threatened to leave ROH with their World Championship and go to WWE. And did that storyline. And then obviously this is a reference a little bit to when he went to do that in WWE and kayfabe and stuff anyways. And then it played, it showed the Joker, and he put a scarf on, which confirmed that it was MJF, and it played a voicemail that Tony Khan, or some type of phone call that Tony Khan left MJF, saying that if he beats Joker in the ladder match, he'll pay him what he wants, and he doesn't have to sign a 1-year extension. A little bit questionable if that's kayfabe or not. With what's going on backstage, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not kayfabe. And then MJF returned, pointed at CM Punk, and it looked like they were going to run CM Punk versus MJF again, which would have made all the sense in the world. CM Punk, the very same guy that threatened to walk out of 2 wrestling companies with the title, versus MJF, who's threatening to do the same thing. It was obviously, they never really had. There's not really a definitive winner in their feud since they never really beat each other fair and square. But we're going to talk about it in a second. That's not going to happen now for a while. But fantastic match here, fantastic end of the show. I gave it 5 stars. It was awesome stuff. And I just loved it. So, what were your thoughts on CM Punk versus Jon Moxley?
It was really good. They played the Moxley angle of him being the villain, and Punk being the hometown hero. I give the match 4.5 stars. Really good match, and I love Max's inclusion at the end. I love that they played the voicemail at the end there, kind of tied everything in. But yeah, it made a whole lot of sense for it to be Max as the Joker. It was kind of because if it wasn't going to be him, who the fuck was it going to be?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if you think about it, it's like, who the hell else could they have brought in to be the Joker other than Max?
Coda Reeves.
Someone saved him that day. Someone would have saved him that day.
Yep.
Technically, Stokely Hathaway would have saved him.
Yeah.
But it made sense, all the sense in the world for it to be Max, and I'm happy. I'm happy he's back. I'm a huge fan. I love Max. He's great. And then he got TV time on Wednesday, and we'll talk about that. They basically they hyped it up at the end of the show at All Out and on Elevation and on Dark. They played advertisements like Maxwell Jacob Friedman's going to talk on Wednesday, so we got a huge segment on Wednesday.
Yep. So that was All Out. I thought it was a fantastic show. I'm going to give it an A. The only criticism I have is they overloaded the show a little too much. I thought they definitely could have chopped off some matches like the mixed tag title match and everything like that. Or like push some matches off for later that I thought they'd get the proper showcase, like Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs. And obviously Jade retaining the title shouldn't have happened either. So I'm giving it an A-. No, not an A-. No, yeah, an A-, an A-.
I'll give it a B+. It wasn't
there you go.
a bad show by any stretch of the imagination, but it also wasn't one of their better shows.
Yeah.
A lot of their shows in the past had been quicker. I felt like this show was just a bit too long and dragged at points. Way too many matches. I feel like Tony gets into this mindset where everyone has to have a match on the show.
Yeah.
And it makes the show go way too fucking long.
Yeah.
Way longer than it should be. But because, like you said, they could have chopped off a few matches. They could have chopped off 2 pre-show matches or 0-hour matches, as they call it. But especially the first 2, that was completely unnecessary. They could have saved that squash match for when they're in Hook's hometown.
Yeah.
At Arthur Ashe. That could have been the big match for him. Instead of just forcing him, shoving him onto the pay-per-view for fucking 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the show itself, like, it wasn't one of AEW's best, but it also was good.
Yeah.
It was a good show.
So now let's review some elevations and stuff. Your favorite parts.
But we have to get to... Oh, do you want to talk about that at the end?
What?
The news?
Oh, yeah.
What happened after?
We'll talk about it before
the news segment.
We'll talk about it before we review Dynamite. So
okay,
like we did in the last recording. So
okay.
So let's talk about Elevation. This was episode 79. I'll just run through the show real quick, and you can just give your thoughts on what you thought of episode 79. We had Excalibur and Cool Hand Magic Matt, whatever his name is, on comment. Matt Menard. It's Matt Menard. I always forget his name. He's not gonna be happy with me if he ever watches the show.
He never would.
And this was, I think, if I had to make a guess, I think this was taped before Dynamite in Chicago, because usually that's when they tape Elevation. Julia Hart squash Alice Crowley, more of a Julia Hart squash. Matt Menard and Excalibur were making jokes about how this is like Julia Hart's like 4th appearance in a row on Dark. Like she's had the most consecutive appearance in a row on Dark. I thought it was hilarious that they were joking around about that. It was awesome. Yeah. Josh Woods and Tony Nese squashed Jordan Cross and Rennie D. Excalibur and Matt Menard were making fun of Rennie D's name. It was hilarious. More of the same squash for Tony Nese and Josh Woods. I think they're coming along together really well as a tag team. Serena Deeb squashed Nikki Victory. Nothing really new to say there. Excalibur and Tony Schiavone. Excalibur and Matt Menard. I think have a gambling problem because they've been making bets throughout this show. Like they need to seek help with the gambling problem. We talked about that in the last Spark episode. Private Party squashed Brandon Gore and JDX. They continue the storyline some more where it looks like they're going to put Matt Hardy and Private Party back together as a trios because Matt Hardy came out and watched the match, so I'm hoping that happens. We had Sky Blue versus Diamante in what should have been the main event. Good match here. Sky Blue ended up getting the win, which made sense since this was in her hometown and everything, so it made sense to give her the win. Nice feel-good win here. Then we had the main event. It was Melina Shafir and Nyla Rose versus Madison Rain and Queen Emanata, the Queens teaming up together. It wasn't that much of a squash, but it kind of was a squash because Madison Rain and Queen Emanata didn't get much offense in. Melina Shafir pinned Madison Rain with, I think they won with the flapjack into the cutter, or the DDT. And it was basically Eminem's old finisher from SmackDown. And I don't really understand what they're doing with Madison Rayne. I think she's just a coach, so she's just going to mainly be there just to put people over. But, like, this was kind of pathetic here. And she hasn't looked all that impressive in her AEW matches. And that's really concerning if she's meant to be, like, the lead woman coach. But that's my thoughts on Elevation. I'm going to give the show, like, a C-. A C+ I gave it, actually. I thought it was decent stuff. I liked Sky Blue versus Diamante, and I just loved hearing Matt Menard and Excalibur on commentary, so that definitely bumps up the show. Anything you want to add about Elevation? Any thoughts?
I thought it was a decent show. I give it the same. I'll give it a C. Nothing really spectacular happened. Just again, we squash matches left and right.
Yeah.
Love those. But I could take 45 minutes of squiggity squashes over 2.5 hours of squiggity squashes.
Yeah.
So I can deal with that. But it was decent. I mean, like I said, the lost archives of the lost tapes of the lostness that Julia Hart's. They love Julia Hart's new theme song and commentary.
Yeah.
Apparently it's been going on for a little while, but it's the first time I heard it. I like it.
Yeah.
It's her new dark mystique. And she has a fucking badass finisher now too. Also.
Yeah. Going on to AEW Dark for episode 160. Tony Nese and Josh Woods. We had Excalibur and Taz on commentary, by the way, and they were in Chicago. They were outside of the studios this week. So there you go. I think this was during the Fan Fest that they usually do doing the pay-per-views and stuff. Josh Woods and Tony Nese squashed Storm Grayson and Brandon Gore. I guess Brandon Gore found a new tag team partner within the span of a day. So, so good for him, I guess.
Didn't matter.
Marina Shafir squashed Laney Luck. I was watching this in Vermont, and James came up and flipped off Marina Shafir, deservedly so. So, that was very much deserved.
Marina Shafir is pretty garbage.
Yeah. Zach Clayton wrestled Serpentico in an awful match where he won with the. Why don't you talk about it? I'll let you talk about it.
There's a botch. It's just like they team up on the fucking next episode, so it just didn't make any sense. Like match was just terrible.
Yeah.
And Zach Clayton won with a fucking Fisherman Buster pin thing. I don't know. Something happened.
It sucked. Poor Serpentico. We'll talk about him later.
Fucking loser is what he is.
Julia Hart squashed Missa Kate. More of the same stuff there. Serena Deeb squashed Saraya. And there was a funny spot in the match where Taz kept screwing up everybody's name, so he thought it was a rib on him. It was awesome. Then Private Party wrestled Robert Anthony and GPA. We talked about this in the last one. This wasn't as much of a squash because I think they would doing John Moxley a favor because him and Robert Anthony are like really good friends in real life. So I think they let him have a little bit of a competitive match here. And he didn't take the pin. GPA took the pin.
Yeah, the GPA. Apparently his grade point average isn't that great.
Yeah, we talked about...
He's not that smart.
Yeah. Then in the main event, it was the ROH World Championship match. It was Claudio Castagnoli defending against Ali Daivari with William Regal on commentary, and William Regal was excellent on commentary, which was awesome.
His love affair
with Excalibur, yeah. And yeah, it was a good match here. Ali Daivari didn't come out with the Trustbusters because he wanted to prove that he could do it on his own, and he didn't. He lost.
It doesn't fucking matter anyway.
They had a good match here, though. I thought these two had really good chemistry with each other. Claudio Castagnoli eventually won with the cross jacket powerbomb.
The Ricola bomb.
Yeah. He retained his championship, which made sense. There was no reason for Ali Daivari to win this belt. It wouldn't have made any sense at all. It would have been. I think a lot of people would have honestly, I think Ali Daivari would have died if he won this title this night. I don't think we would see him anymore. I think Chicago fans would have murdered him.
The ROH championship would be ruined.
Yeah.
I think it'd be 24/7 championship levels of bad.
Yeah. And that's AEW Dog. I thought it was a good show. I gave it a B- because I liked the main event. I liked Tony Nese and Josh Wood squash match. I liked Private Party's match. Actually, you know what? I don't think I can give it a B-. I'm gonna go C+ because I can't give a show with a match with Zach Clayton versus a Pentacle a B-. I feel like you would never talk to me again if I did. So, we can't have. Huh?
I'm never gonna talk to you again.
Oh, what? But giving it a C+. At least I realized my mistake. So,
Yeah, you did.
So
give it a C.
the grade's not finalized. And,
Flat out
is
C.
it because of the? Is it because of that Zach Clayton Serpentico match?
That awful fucking shit match.
Yeah.
With
Any
two
other
wrestlers who shouldn't even be in the same ring together.
Any other thoughts you have about Dark? Because you didn't really get to talk about anything else.
My thoughts on Dark. It was good. It was better than Elevation.
Yeah, it was.
That Elevation was kind of bland. And I felt like Dark was better. I liked some of the matches, but the squash matches galore. But it wasn't bad.
Yeah. And now, before we talk about AEW Dynamite, we talk about this when we get into the news section, but we have to talk about it now because it affects last week's AEW Dynamite. So, do you want to talk about the big news thing that came out of All Out after the media scrum and everything?
I'll keep it brief this time around. I won't go too crazy. I guess you've been living under a rock for the past couple weeks now. 2 week, almost 2, since All Out. CM Punk, Bitter Phil, bitch boy. He decided that he wanted to go into the scrum and have a pre-rehearsed call out from fucking 2 weeks. It took him. He's been thinking about doing this for 2 weeks. And so he's calling out the EVPs. He was bringing up Koka and his mom and how they share a bank account, which is a shitty thing to do. Fuck him. Gives a shit, honestly. In the end, they got into a fucking fight backstage, and it wasn't like how it was said. There was an actual fight, but CM Punk ran away and hid in his locker room like a little pussy that he is. They said that Matt and Nick Jackson kicked the door down, which they didn't do. Did they knock loudly? Yes. And then they went in. Kenny took Larry, CM Punk's dog, out into the hallway so that he wouldn't be in the fracas. And then once he went back in, Ace Steel fucking grabbed him and bit him. What the fuck? What are you doing? You're a human being, not a dog. You're gonna bite people. And a bunch of people got suspended because of this. Bitter Phil, Ace Steel's probably gonna get fired once the litigation's done. Because this is like a fucking court case now currently. The Bucks and Kenny all suspended. And on top of it, Bitter Phil tore his tricep during the match, doing a tope to the outside on Jon Moxley, and he tore his tricep. So regardless if this fight actually happened, he was going to get stripped of the championship anyway. And in the end, we now have, well, not anymore, but at the time, vacant World Heavyweight and World Trios Tag Team Championships. No more. That match with the Dark Order versus the Elite is completely fucking useless. Because neither of them factored into the actual decision because 2/4 of the group are hurt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just basically summed it up. Oh, he also said that Bitter Phil said that when he came back. By the way, how ironic is this? A year and a month later, Phil Brooks went from being excited and exasperated, or what the fuck it is, exuberant, can't even think of the word, happy about being back and working with young talent and all this shit. And a year and a month later, he goes into the media scrum and says, "I'm old, I'm beat up, I'm hurt, and I work with children." So what happened, Phil? What happened? You said you came back and you were excited to work with the young talent. And now we're a year and a month later and you're fucking crying about it. And he also called it Hangman too he went off script a little bit, and Punk didn't like what he said, and he sat there fretting about it. Because apparently he can't handle a promo. But not surprised because he's a little fairy. But yeah. That's what happened, and yeah. Basically Tony opened up the show and said that by the way, this is all Tony's fault, by the way.
Yeah.
He just sat there like a fucking idiot and didn't say anything. Did you see the post game, like the post match from?
I didn't see
idiot.
I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw at least the CM Punk, basically the part that CM Punk called out and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Did you they showed a different kind of like off angle, like they filmed from the side where you could see Tony and Punk, and it's like he is like not saying a goddamn word. The second that he starts bringing up the Young Bucks and Kenny and Hangman, that's when you cut it.
Yeah.
That's when you say, okay, let's not do this. This is not the time. And instead you let him go on and on and on and on. And everything just snowballed.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk. I'll give my 2 cents. I talked about it before. Everybody's at fault here. The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, because they're EVPs, they have to set an example backstage. They shouldn't be behaving this way, getting into backstage fights and everything like that. Ace Steel clearly is at fault because he's like an EVP and he's doing worse stuff than they were doing, starting fights backstage. He should get fired. CM Punk,
big time.
CM Punk is at fault because there wasn't the time and the place to even mention that type of stuff, and he's just been bitter. I think he's been bitter ever since he returned from his injury, like calling out Heyman, Adam Page in an unscripted promo and everything. I don't know what's going on with him right now. And then Tony Khan, he's at fault for the stuff you said, but also not communicating with the locker room that when he bought ROH, he was going to send Colt Cabana to ROH to work with those talent to kind of keep the peace between him and CM Punk, and him not communicating that backstage to the locker room led to snowball. Look at this, snowballed everything. So
yeah, exactly.
And I think we didn't talk about this the first time. The thing that sucked the most about this is the biggest thing we should have talked about out of All Out was MJF's return. This was MJF's night. It was MJF's moment. And because of bullshit and backstage politics and everything, MJF was like one of the last things we ended up talking about coming out of All Out because of CM Punk and all this bullshit drama.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Like, this should have, like, honestly, if MJF wasn't re-signing before, or if he was, like, if he's not re-signed, he might not even re-sign now because his big night was ruined because of backstage drama, backstage bullshit. And, I do want to point out, I know it's not good to compare companies. WWE had a press conference the day before, went off without a hitch. No drama, no bullshit, no nothing for Clash at the Castle. And we also talked about this before, too. If the backstage environment continues to go like this in AEW, we're not going to have AEW. No company's going to want to partner with them because the backstage is so hostile. And a lot of people will want to jump ship to WWE because it's thriving right now under the Triple H regime and everything like that.
Oh yeah.
And it looks like we're already hearing about that because we're hearing that Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks have contacted WWE and have shown interest to go into WWE. So, and if Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks go, that's going to spiral into a lot of big stars going, like Heyman, Adam Page, and other people that are like really good friends with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. So, if the backstage, it never even should have gotten to this point. But if it doesn't change soon, a lot of people aren't going to be in AEW. Like AEW might be gone in a year, and selfishly I need AEW to stick around because then I get a free movie and dinner out of it. So I need it to stick around. But I also wanted to stick around because this show basically is not a thing anymore, and also too, which is not good it's good for the wrestling company. It's good to have another option for people to sign to and everything like that. I don't say it's good competition. I don't really think about the competition anymore because I don't live in the 90s where I think of competition. I just think of another option because not everyone is going to be able to go to WWE if AEW goes. Like WWE can't sign everybody. Yeah, so a lot of people are going to be out of work if AEW's out of business, pretty much. And it hurts the wrestling business too because there's not another big company out there. So, but we'll have to wait and see. But that led us to this episode of Dynamite. I'll just kind of run through it. So Tony Khan addressed the situation with the. By the way, for commentary, we had Taz, Excalibur, Jim Ross, and Tony Schiavone. I think it's the same thing as it's been where I think JR was on like the first hour actually. I think he was on the whole time, and then Schiavone's the one that like had to give up his again. No, actually no, it wasn't that way. It was Excalibur, Taz, and Schiavone throughout the first hour, and I think JR came in. He came in late. Yeah, it's a late boy. He's late. He's got to be on time. Boy. Tony Schiavone basically addressed the situation. He announced that now that there's going to be new Trios Champions crowned on this show, it's going to be Death Triangle versus Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. Now that's going to be for the Trios titles. And he announced a Tournament of Champions where on this show and Rampage we're gonna have two quarterfinal matches, and John Moxley and Chris Jericho, since Moxley was recently the champion and since Jericho I guess was like the first ever champion. Actually, I'm not really sure about Jericho going because I can understand Jericho going to the semifinals. Thinking back doesn't really make much sense because he beat Bryan Danielson, but like other than that I really can't think of another reason that he would. But I guess because he was maybe because he's the first champion, he gets to go immediately. They didn't really explain that very well. Again, they probably had to rewrite this tournament because I think they want to get a new champion crowned by the Arthur Ashe Stadium show and to do a big match. So they clearly have to rush this tournament, which sucks. But on this show, on Dynamite, it was going to be Heyman, Adam Page versus Bryan Danielson, and then on Rampage, it was going to be Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin, and whoever won the Dynamite match was going to face Chris Jericho, and whoever won the Rampage match was going to face Jon Moxley on this week's AEW, which is being recorded. Like I said, this is being recorded on September 14th. So, and Tony Khan also got booed, by the way, too, which was very much
at the beginning of the show.
Which is the first time that's ever happened, because typically he's cheered like a legend when you see him on AEW. That was not the case here. And then I'm gonna let you talk about this because it was your favorite thing of the show. Why don't you talk about MJF's promo? Talk about that because that was awesome.
It was a great promo. It was fantastic. He came out and he basically was acting like a babyface. And he came out praising the city of Buffalo, said that Josh Allen was the greatest quarterback of all time, and just basically sucking up the city and showing glimpses of what he could be like as a babyface. But then Moxley comes out, and Max flips the switch and proceeds to shit all over Josh Allen, all over Buffalo. He takes the Josh Allen jersey off, wipes his ass with it, throws it into the crowd.
And let's not forget that the reason Max flips the script is because Mox basically called him out on his bullshit too.
Yeah, he called him out on his bullshit, and he went right back to being heel Max again. It was fantastic. He basically then said that he brought out the bidding war of 2024 again, and he said that he wants to go to the company or something similar to that has the better con with jolly old Saint Nick. Nick Khan is the reference, and then he went back and said that he wants to work with his favorite wrestler of all time, The Game. And it was
he mentioned Triple H. He mentioned Triple H on camera too.
That was so awesome.
Yeah.
I think we're getting something similar to that tonight if Max is going to be on the show tonight.
Yeah. And then you forgot the biggest thing. He says that he'd be over there with the roller coaster, his best friend, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. I forgot that was. He mentioned Cody by name.
Yeah. And then he left because Moxley challenged him to a fight, but Max didn't accept. And they explained why Max isn't in the tournament because he works a light schedule. He's not interested in tournaments, which I agree with him. He doesn't need to be doing that. He already has a match. He doesn't need any of that. So
no.
Then Jon Moxley proceeds to cut this excellent promo talking about the importance of the AEW World Championship. He talks about how that means. He says that the belt doesn't mean anything, but being the champion means everything to him. He talked about how he got hit with one bad shot at All Out, but he says he's supposed to be on vacation right now, which is actually true. He was supposed to go on vacation. But he said that when the time came calling, he wanted to be that guy again. And he talked about how the AEW Championship, basically, it's to him going to be an escape from real life, basically. He talked about how he got him through the pandemic because he was the champion basically during the entire pandemic era of AEW. And he talks about how he gets to have experiences and matches that he's never had before. And he said he's going to win that AEW World Championship for AEW and everything, pretty much. It was a hell of a promo. And I absolutely loved it. And a lot of people could say what they want about Moxley, but I think he's been the heart and soul pretty much of AEW. When AEW has needed him, he's been the guy. He's been the go-to guy, and he's basically been the face of AEW, I think, because while Jericho's the ratings draw, everything that AEW asked Jon Moxley to do, he's done. And
he's done everything.
The biggest thing he's done is he realized he had a problem with his alcohol and everything. AEW didn't even have to tell him to go to rehab. He chose himself to go to rehab. I think that definitely shows, that he understands what it's like to be at the top of a professional wrestling business. Honestly, I think he's going to stay in AEW and probably finish his career there. If he went to WWE tomorrow, which if backstage continues, it could be very well likely. He could be the heart and soul of WWE all over again. It would be awesome. But hell of a promo here. He got everything. And Jon Moxley was the perfect guy to confront MJF, being back. Because like I said, since Moxley's been the heart and soul, MJF is crapping on everything Moxley's represented. In a sense, I'm kind of happy CM Punk did get hurt because this should have been the feud anyways when MJ comes back, because I imagine what's going to happen is John Moxley's probably going to win the belt for a third time and be the one to face MJF when he gets his title match. So, this was awesome. What do you think of Moxley's part of the promo?
I thought it was good. It's your like run of the mill Moxley promo that he usually cuts, very passionate. But yeah, I didn't have any issues with it.
Yeah,
the whole segment as a whole is an A+.
I mean, it was probably one of the best promos I've seen up until Monday Night Raw this week, which you'll understand. If you've seen Monday Night Raw, you'll know that it's just say the person that cut that promo has my name as their last name. So,
just minus the S.
Huh?
Just minus the S. The names would be Owens Finch.
Yep. Then we had the first match. It was for the vacant AEW World Trios Championships. It was Death Triangle versus Best Friend and Orange Cassidy. Hell of a match here. Just go watch it for yourself. It really can't be. I really can't put justice to this match. Eventually, Death Triangle won when Pac hit the Black Arrow onto Chuck Taylor. And poor Chuck Taylor, he took like a power driver, the Fear Factor, and the.
What is that?
Yeah, he was murdered. And Death Triangle became the second ever Trios champions. And they are now, I can't believe this, by the way, like, it's so hard for this to happen. They are now the longest reigning Trios champions. Like, what an accomplishment that is, to get past 3 days. Like, holy crap. Like, I don't know how they did it. Like,
yeah, I don't either, yeah.
And Pac also made history. He's the first wrestler to hold 2 AEW championships at the same time. So, Pac's just taking over the world, man. So, then Doc, what'd you think of the match? I forgot to ask you that.
I thought it was good. I thought it was a really good, again, another good trios match. Between two really good teams.
Yep. Then Doc Order got interviewed, and we found out that Alex Reynolds was hurt, so that's why the Doc Order weren't in the trios. Well, that's why they didn't participate in this match. And they were upset about it. Andrade El Idolo and Roosh came up to them, and Andrade El Idolo offered 10 a job again. But the Dark Order, Evil Uno, and John Silver answered for him and told him that he's not joining. He's not working for you. But we're not sure what 10's answer is yet, because they could do a heel turn with 10. I think if 10 turns heel, there's no point of having the Dark Order, though, because he's been like one of the founding members of the Dark Order, and it'd just be really pointless to not have him in it. But yeah, that was it. It looks like we're going to get some type of match, maybe an 8-man tag with the Butcher and the Blade involved versus the Dark Order when Alex Reynolds and 10 heal from their injuries. But maybe, when Evil Uno hears from his loser injuries. What a loser. Loser. It would be John Silver and Evil Uno versus Andrade El Idolo and Roosh. And you know who's going to lose that match? It's going to be John Silver and Evil Uno, with Evil Uno taking the pin because, he's a loser. Loser. What were your thoughts on this backstage segment and loser Evil Uno?
It was okay.
Did you know there were people backstage that thought Evil Uno was just Kevin Owens wearing a mask? Like, because they sounded like it and everything like that, and have like the same. God. What if we found out that was the case, that he's just Kevin Owens in a freaking mask?
That'd be fantastic.
He just work. Have you ever seen him without his mask on, though?
No.
Have you ever seen Kevin Owens and Evil Uno in the same place together?
Yes.
When?
On the Indies.
Oh, well, maybe Kevin Owens was. It was the suicide thing from TNA. Like a bunch of people were suicide. Maybe that was the case.
They would have tag match too, so they would have ruled that
out. But yeah, anyhow, going on to the next match, it was an interim AEW Women's World Championship eliminator match. It was Penelope Ford versus Toni Storm. Penelope Ford was accompanied by Kip Sabian. He was wearing the box on his head again because that's what he liked. I wonder if this is the same box he keeps wearing. If he just like makes.
He must have a box fetish.
Yeah. Eventually, Tony Storm won with the tornado DDT out of nowhere. I think something got messed up or something because the match really ended abruptly, but it was a fine match. Again, though, later in the show, Britt Baker has a promo talking about her partnership with Jamie Hayter, and that was more talked about than the freaking champion on the show, so I don't know what's going on there. So, what was your thoughts on this?
It's okay.
It was okay.
Just say.
And then 2.0 did a promo talking about... I'm just going to talk about these next, 4 segments all at once. 2.0 did a promo, and they basically challenged Hook and Action Bronson to a tag match at the Arthur Ashe Stadium show on September 21st, which is actually next week, so let's see if he accepts. Then the Acclaim was supposed to come out to do a rap. It got interrupted by Swerve Strickland, and we had already known it was announced. They announced it, during the Trios match, too, really abruptly, that Swerve and Glory are going to defend the AEW World Tag Team Championships against the Acclaimed.
And they have arrived.
Yeah. And Swerve Strickland came out, and he basically said, he told us a joke, and that was the Acclaimed as AEW Tag Team Champions. And the Acclaimed said they're going to win the belts. And Swerve and Strickland, they just talked shit to each other pretty much. So that was about it. Then Chris Jericho got interviewed, and he talked about how he found the fountain of youth because he could still go paid with people like Bryan Danielson. And he said that he's going to use that to win the AEW World Championship. And he talked about how Sammy Guevara is going to defeat Jon Moxley. Not Jon Moxley. I just gave away the result of Rampage, so hopefully you guys have watched Rampage already. He's going to defeat Darby Allin on Rampage. Then Wardlow squashed Tony Nese and retained his TNT Championship. Then afterwards he went to powerbomb Smart Mark Sterling, but Josh Woods saved his life, apparently. I don't think he would have died, but I think Mark Sterling probably thought so. And then afterwards he said basically that this is what we're going to see from Wardlow every week. So we'll find out. We'll see if that happens with Wardlow every week. If he doesn't do this next week, I'm going to call him out on it.
It's got to be every week.
Then Darby Allin cut a promo and talked about how him and Sammy Guevara have been the pillars of AEW. And he tells Sammy Guevara to leave the Jericho Appreciation Society backstage, and he'll leave Sting backstage. Spoiler alert, that does not happen. All right, so I just broke down those segments. Anything you want to talk about when it comes to those segments? Your thoughts or anything like that?
You covered it very well.
Then we had the Dynamite Wildcard AEW Grand Slam Tournament of Champions match. It was Bryan Danielson versus Hangman Adam Page. Hell of a match here. They really told the storyline that Bryan Danielson has never beaten Hangman Adam Page in singles competition or ever. And they really just went to war with each other. Big moment that happened is they actually went to commercial, no picture-in-picture or anything during the match. I always notice it happens during Bryan Danielson's matches. It's like we're not allowed to see all of Bryan Danielson's matches. It's like, nope, you can't. It's not allowed. You can't see this. Eventually, Bryan Danielson won with a bridge roll-up and beat Hangman Adam Page. It was a hell of a match, though. We were doing star ratings. That would get a 5-star rating. And now it's going to be Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho next week, and looking forward to seeing how that turns out. And your thoughts on this?
No, it's just what it is.
And I'll talk about these next 3 segments all at once. Jungle Boy did a promo talking about how he's disappointed in Luchasaurus for turning his back on him and talking about how he carried him throughout his AEW career, and now he's going to get exposed without being with Jungle Boy. And he talks about how when Christian Cage comes back, he's going to how he's going to have hell to pay. So we'll find out if that happens. Then Stokely Hathaway's group was supposed to cut a promo, and we never got an answer to find out if MJF was with them. So hopefully we get that answer soon. And one of the camera crew tells them that that they don't have time for this now because the show went too long. It's all thanks to Bryan Danielson versus Hangman Adam Page. Thanks a lot, guys. You took away Stokely Hathaway's time.
Good.
And this guy got murdered and destroyed. Poor guy. And as I talked about before, W. Morrissey scared me by throwing the security guy. It was scary, very scary.
You need to grow up.
We already talked about this. We don't need to talk about
Grow up.
And then it showed Bill. It showed I'll be a man by talking about two men going at it. It showed build up for the ROH World Championship match that's going to happen that's already happened on Rampage between Claudio Castagnoli and not Willie Yuta, Dax Howard. We'll talk about that match some more when we talk about Rampage. Your thoughts on all this stuff?
No.
Yeah.
Covered it all. You're just a covering man.
One thing we also don't know, by the way. One thing we also don't know, by the way, is if Stokely Hathaway's still with Jade Cargill, because they made mention that now he's probably moved on. And to be honest, I don't blame him. I would move on too. You're with better talent right now.
Yeah.
Mr. Hathaway.
Including Debbie Morrissey.
Come on, you like him. You don't deny. You love you
Big
some
ass.
W. Morrissey. Hey, at least you don't have to hear that generic theme song that he had anymore. At least you don't have to.
Shit out of my life.
I still remember when he stood in front of the Titantron, and it looked like it said "big ass" because he covered the. He was standing right in front of the C. So. Then we had the main event. It was for the ROH Pure Championship. Wheeler Yuta defended against Daniel Garcia. Caprice Coleman and William Regal were doing commentary for this. I felt bad, sort of, for Caprice Coleman because he didn't really get to talk all that much because he had to try to follow along with William Regal, Excalibur, Taz, and Schiavone, and Jim Ross, actually. And that's not an easy thing to do. It's a poor guy right there. Like I talked about before, though, I don't think he's all that good on commentary, so I wasn't that disappointed about it. Wow, this time you're not calling me mean. I remember last time you said I was mean for saying that. Now you agreed with me. So
yeah.
Honestly, I think when it comes to the ROH things, they should just have Excalibur and Taz just commentate the ROH pay-per-views because that's just going to be better for everybody involved, especially Excalibur and Taz, because they'll get more money in their pockets. So, and we like it when people have money in their pockets. Unless it's change for you, you don't want that in your pockets. So
no, I want it all in my pockets.
So this was a hell of a match here, though. This was in Daniel Garcia's hometown, so he was the fan favorite here. I don't think he's fully turned babyface yet, though. I think this is just a one-time thing for now. And I thought it was hilarious because the Pure Rules match, it's a 60-minute time limit, but by the time this match actually started, there was like 30 minutes left to the show left, so you knew it wasn't going to go to the time limit.
You just knew.
This was a hell of a match here, though. Daniel Garcia locked the Dragon Slayer in on Wheeler Yuta like 3 times, and then at one point, Wheeler Yuta hit the closed fist shot, and that was a warning. You can't do that in pure title matches. And I talked about this in the loss recording. This referee, lost his mind when Wheeler Yuta did a closed fist shot. Like, he exploded at Wheeler Yuta. Like, it was hilarious. Eventually, Wheeler Yuta tapped out to the Dragon Slayer, and Daniel Garcia became the new ROH Pure Champion, which I thought made all the sense in the world. It was in his hometown, so it was a good feel-good win. Afterwards, Bryan Danielson came out and put the title around his waist, and Jericho came out and was like, "How dare you do this to me?" And was mad about it. And that was the end of the show. He had Daniel Garcia had like a big celebration, confetti and everything afterwards. This was an awesome match here. I loved it. I love the Pure Rules. They're awesome.
It was a really good match. I liked it. Ray Person won in the hometown. Got the pop. Really good.
What about the Pure Rules? Do you like those or do you not like them?
Oh, it's not bad.
The only thing that's kind of weird, though, is they do the rope break thing, and they didn't show they exhausted their rope breaks, like during the picture-in-picture, so you really didn't even know that they used up any rope breaks. So, I do like it sometimes when they do that, though. That they have because now it makes you have to think about using up your rope breaks. So
Yeah.
Knowing me though, if I was in that match, I'd probably forget about it and exhaust all my rope breaks like right away too. Like knowing me, that would probably end up happening to me. So, so yeah, that was Dynamite. I thought it was an awesome show. I'm gonna give it an A-, considering the fact that they had to write the show pretty much on a whim. So I gave it an A-. What are you giving it?
I give it an A-, B+.
There you go.
B+
what?
it is.
With that, how did you change from A- to B+ in the span of 2 seconds?
Because that's what we do here.
This isn't your show anymore. I'm the host of the AEW Spark. So, anyhow, I'm assuming you didn't watch Rampage from last week, did you?
You don't have to assume I don't watch Rampage.
So, apparently the Rampage that we watched was September 2nd, because we watched it. Apparently, this took place after this week's Dynamite, because that's what I have in my notes. So apparently they went backwards somehow. So I'll just go over it real quick. Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin had a hell of a match in the tournament. It was an awesome match. Sammy Guevara won by hitting a power bomb to Darby Allin onto the skateboard with the wheels turned right side up. And hit the GTH for the win. So Sammy Guevara lied, by the way. He wasn't supposed. No, actually, he didn't necessarily lie. He didn't do what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to go out there by himself, and he just didn't listen to Darby Allin. He's useless. He's just as bad as Ali Daivari. Maybe worse.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe returned. Apparently, he's been dead for the past couple of months. And he talked about how he's looking forward to getting back into this ring and defending his ROH World Television Championship. And Josh Woods came out and accepted a match. And Samoa Joe wanted to have the match right now, but they do the typical here thing. These people aren't good enough to have this match right now. We're gonna do it in a better place, and that's next week on Rampage. So I think that'll be a hell of a match right there. Then Miro did a promo talking about basically how he's directionless now because he can't go after the House of Black anymore because the leader's gone. And he wasn't put in the tournament, so he's mad. He demands better. Sound familiar from his WWE one?
Yeah, very much so.
Then Madison Rayne and Serena Deeb had not that good of a match with each other, which isn't very good considering the fact that Madison Rayne is one of the head coaches and her in-ring performance hasn't been that good, so that's not a good sign. Serena Deeb made her tap out to the Serenity Lock in like 6 minutes, so that's great utilization of a TNA legend right there. Awesome, fantastic. Wouldn't have it any other way. Then Powerhouse Hobbs gets interviewed and says that he's ready to move on from Ricky Starks, so let's see if that happens. Jade Cargill got interviewed. What do you think Jade Cargill said?
I'm that bitch.
Yep.
She's that bitch.
That's pretty. And she told the interviewer to cut the shit too. That she does that a lot too.
Literally just cut it. She took a piece of shit and she cut it.
Yep. Then we had the main event. It was for the ROH World Championship. It was Claudio Castagnoli defending against Dax Harwood. Hell of a match here. Eventually, Claudio Castagnoli made Dax Harwood tap out to the Texas Cloverleaf. They shook hands and stuff afterwards, raised each other's hands, and it was just an awesome match. Really good episode of Rampage. I'm going to give it a B+. Great episode. I love the opener and the main event, and I love Samoa Joe's promo. Loved it. Great show. B+. The only thing I would change is no Jade Cargill and stop jobbing out Madison Rayne. So, now let's talk about Elevation. I'll just run through these shows real quick. The two docs. Nyla Rose and Marina Sophia. The same people on commentary, by the way, for these two episodes. Nyla Rose and Marina Sophia squashed JC Storm and Joelle Clift. Julia Hart squashed Tahara James. Dante Mountain and Matt Seidel squashed Zach Clayton and Serpentico. Yeah, they squashed him. It wasn't a competitive match. Poor Serpentico. And remember how we've been talking about losers? He's the biggest loser in AEW because almost at 100 career losses. What a loser.
Fucking loser. Fucking loser.
He needs us to stop wrestling before he gets up 100 career losses. He made the suggestion in the loss recording that they should do the same thing that they did for Shida, where he gets a big trophy for having the most losses. And what should happen is when he has the 99th match on Dynamite, he should face like Jungle Boy or someone that's like in a feud, and the guy that he's feuding with should come out and beat up Serpentico and cause a disqualification loss. That would be hilarious.
That'd be the best.
Athena and Emi Sakura had a good match, and Athena won with the old face. Good match there. Brody King and Buddy Matthews completely destroyed Isaiah Price and Cubes. Cubes was getting roasted on commentary by Excalibur and Matt Menard. I got his name right this time. There you go. Shida.
Let's go.
Shida had somewhat of a competitive match with Christina Moore. She got some offense in, but then that was it. Ryan Nemeth and John Silver had a comedy match. John Silver won with the Helicoaster. And the Butcher and the Blade faced Nick Camarado and Aaron Solo. Since this was in the Butcher and the Blade's hometown and the Bunnies, they were all the baby faces here. And it really showed that they could be baby faces. And they ended up winning with the Powerbomb Neckbreaker combination onto Aaron Solo. I thought it was a really good match because it was cool to see the Butcher and the Blade as baby faces. And that was AEW Elevation. I give it a B-. I thought it was a good show. Any additional thoughts you have about Elevation episode 80?
It proves that Butcher and the Blade can be baby faces. I like that. It was a good show.
Yeah.
What did you give it?
I give it a B-, especially too. I forgot. I didn't even mention the best part about it because of the comment section on AEW. Why don't you talk about the comment section? Because you were paying attention to that more than I was.
It was brutal. Lots of interesting words were said.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Lots of fake accounts saying N-word. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And one person called Emi Sakura an Asian fatty. That was bizarre.
And a lot of people were checking out Tahala James too.
Yes.
So then we have Dark from last night, episode 161. I'll just run through this real quick. There wasn't that many squash matches. They were all fairly competitive this time. So we had Penelope Ford versus Alice Crowley. This was a pretty competitive match here. Penelope Ford ended up getting the win. It was really creepy because you saw like Kip Sabian like watching in his box, and he just looks so creepy sometimes. He's like watching.
Penelope like kissed Kip, and they're like, "What if that's not Kip Sabian?"
That was
and just kissed a random person.
Considering the fact that he kidnapped somebody and put him under that box, that could very well have happened. But I'm going to let you talk about this backstage segment that took place right after this match. Why don't you talk about it? Because
this sucked. They had Alex Marvez backstage because there was a commotion, and they wanted to talk to Hikaru Shida. So Marvez is banging on the door, and all of a sudden Rebel awkwardly comes out. It's like, oh, she's not available right now, or something like that. And then Britt Baker comes out and cuts a terrible promo, basically saying like, oh, I can't have my partner, then you can't have yours. And then they go off, and then Alex Marvez goes in there and goes, oh, very monotone, by the way, no concern whatsoever in his voice. Goes, oh, this is bad. This is not good. This is really bad. And then he turns over and goes to the doc like, oh, she needs help. And then the doctor was on the scene in 0.1 seconds. It's the fastest I've ever seen someone like go into a scene and shoot into a locker room.
I know.
And they shut the door and they go, this is really bad. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, this had to be the worst backstage segment I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah. It's really bad. Alex Marvez acting here was really bad too. Like it was awful. Like
he was so monotone. He showed no emotion whatsoever. It was horrific.
Yeah.
No wonder why they took him off commentary.
Oh, I remember that day.
That was terrible. He was the worst.
He's not even much better interviewing either. Like when he just asks questions, he's okay, but when he has to act like this, it's terrible.
No, it was brutal.
Then we had the next match. It was Dante Mountain and Matt Seidel versus Cesar Benoni and Ryan Nemeth. Good match here. Dante Mountain ended up pinning Cesar Benoni with the nosedive. Surprise, surprise, the wingman lost. They're losers too. Like what losers? Good match here though. I liked it. I want them to run more with Dante Mountain and Matt Seidel as a tag team because they were an awesome tag team together. So, then we had Emi Sakura and Diamante versus Sky Blue and Queen Eminata. One funny bit that happened on commentary is Emi Sakura and Diamante came out to Emi Sakura's theme music. And Taz was wondering, so how do you think, no, I think it was Excalibur actually. How do you think they decided whose theme song they were coming out to? Do you think they played rock, paper, scissors? Do you think they flipped a coin? And Taz says, well, Emi Sakura was a queen, so she automatically gets to come out to the theme song. And all of a sudden, Taz went on this like huge tirade about like how Team Taz came out to their theme song, and he just started going off on Team Taz randomly. It was hilarious.
It was so funny.
And then at one point, I forget his name because I didn't write it down, but like one of Emi Sakura's students was out there. And like midway through, like I don't even know if Taz noted him like midway through the match, and Taz wanted Excalibur. So explain to me who this guy is that's out there. And Excalibur was explaining who he was and everything like that. And Taz like, I think he blocked me on Twitter, so that's why I don't know who he is. And then he like went off a tirade, and like people keep blocking him on Twitter and everything too. Like, this is why I love them on commentary because. As good as they are play-by-play together, when they're so good at like just shooting the shit together on commentary, especially Taz. Like you can just tell Taz just does not care to commentate off. He just talks about anything else. But
he just talks about everything else. Fucks up everyone's name.
Surprisingly, Sky Blue and Queen Eminata won. I was really shocked.
That shocked me too. I was like, whoa, okay.
But then I found out it was in Chicago, so I'm like, oh, that makes sense then. But yeah, good match. Really good match here, though. No complaints about it. Then Danhausen wrestled Pretty Peter Avalon. Apparently, Danhausen's over 6 feet tall and 300 pounds. I guess that's what
he is.
I'm not going to argue with him. So
I'm not either.
This match was actually a squash. I thought it was awesome that it was a squash because I'm not really that big of a fan of Pretty Peter Avalon, anyways. So. He cursed him, and then he put him in the triantula, and Peter Avalon I don't know what he passed out from, either from the submission hold or the curse. I think it was probably the curse, though, because you can't survive the curse. You just can't survive.
I absolutely love Peter Avalon's gimmick. It is like an unsexy version of Rick Rude. It's so funny.
He looks like Rick Rude, kind of, too.
He looks like 80s Rick Rude.
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny. When he was gyrating, I literally was dying laughing.
Did you ever watch the Being the Elite episodes when he got signed, how they were basically making a joke that his gimmick was terrible? When he was the librarian and everything, that his gimmick was, like, terrible and everything. Yes. So I honestly think him being signed is just like a rib at this point. And the funny thing is, I think Cody was the biggest reason he got signed, too.
And then he had a competitive squash match with him.
Yeah. And then we had the main event. Not the show, so you can stay right here.
I'm leaving.
No, you gotta stay. You're already 2 hours into it. Might as well just stay. It was Angelico versus Matt Hardy. And we found this was in Chicago. No, this was in North Carolina, I think. Or was it Chicago? So I remember because Matt Hardy was very very much the fan favorite here, and I think it was because it was in a place that he's like really popular at. So it was either Chicago or North Carolina. And Yeah, this was a good match here. Matt Hardy eventually won with the twist of fate out of nowhere, and that was it. There was no private party like appearance or anything, which I was surprised about. I don't know if they just weren't there that day or what, but Matt Hardy won, and that was about it. And that was AEW Dark. I gave the show a B-. I thought you had some good matches on it, and really no complaints from me. What do you think of AEW Dark from last night?
No complaints. Liked it. It was really good. I gave it a B.
Wow, you liked it more than I did. Oh yeah, because you probably got the comments actually too. So
I liked the Danhausen Peter Avalon match.
Yeah.
That really.
So then we have to do a grade for every AEW show we just reviewed and combine them together. And I'm gonna give it. I think I gave it a B+ before, but now that Dark's been included, I'm gonna give it an A-, considering the fact of they also had to rewrite one of the shows, like basically all the shows, at least two of the main ones, on the fly pretty much. So I'm giving it an A-. And plus, you had some awesome shows this week and everything like that too.
I give it a B+ still.
Oh, okay. So Doc didn't change your mind then.
Nope, still B+.
So would it have been an A- had the Zach Clayton Serpentico match not happened?
Yes.
So thanks a lot, Zach Clayton.
Waste of my time.
So now let's do some some
Hikaru Shida backstage attack.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! Get some help.
Had that not happened, would it have gotten an A-? But still the Zach Clayton Serpentico match is still there.
Both those weren't on the show, A-.
If you had to pick one to leave, which one would you have left? The Zach Clayton Serpentico squash or that backstage segment?
Probably the backstage segment because it set up an angle for Dynamite.
Okay.
That set up an angle to nothing.
Yeah. I mean, at least we could say they used Doc to set up an angle for Dynamite. It just sucks that I like how people are gonna say we complain. It just sucks that the angle wasn't good.
It just was awful.
Yeah.
It was not good at all.
So we have the new. Let's talk about the news section for this week. We have some. I mean, obviously we don't have as big a news because we already talked about the biggest news thing that came out of it. We talked about it already. Malachi Black is gone. He's taking some time away for some mental health reasons. I hope he can get better. We talked about in the unrecorded version, if he does come back to wrestling, I want him to go to WWE just because I think if he went to WWE, he would be like one of the biggest stars in the promotion. He would honestly get like a main event level push. Not the show, like an actual main event level push.
Yeah, main event, sure. The show is what you definitely meant.
What do you think about Malachi Black being gone and everything?
Take care of mental health. You're struggling because your wife's in a different company, and I can't really blame him. And that's to be like that, like away from your wife for like long periods of time, so you spend X amount of hours with in a week. You're married to them. You love them to death, and then now you got to go your separate ways instead of going to the same building together. That's tough. Really, really hard.
So now that you've said that, he might go to WWE then.
Like honestly, like just to go with Selena, like honestly.
I mean that because there's no brand split right now. So when he gets his mental health better and everything, I'm not saying that he did this. I do kind of hope this happened just because I think it'd be hilarious. I hope he kind of used that so he'd get his release so that way he could go to WWE. And you know what I mean? That would be kind of funny if he did that.
Yeah, that would be that. Honestly, like, yeah.
Because honestly, like, I don't think AEW would. I don't think AEW was gonna let him leave. Like, I think,
He's heavily restricted right now.
Yeah.
He did the thing where it's like, oh, I'm not gonna rule out an AEW account.
Yeah.
We'll see about that. They always say that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the only other if Selena Vega went to AEW, that would be a reason for him to go back, but we'll see. Maybe he'll go back on a part-time schedule or something. But we shall see. And then another big news that's come out within the past couple of weeks, but I haven't talked about it, at least on camera yet. Hopefully this gets out. I can upload this. Is Bobby Fish is gone now. He requested his release. Basically, he wasn't happy with the position in the company. It didn't really look like his position was going to change right now either because both of his stablemates are injured. Kyle O'Reilly's going for a neck fusion, and Adam Cole is still injured. I don't know when he's going to be back. He might not be. He might not be back for a while. But yeah, I think he did make comments saying he'd rather be working with Triple H now that he's taken over WWE, which I honestly think that's probably going to be the best case for him because I honestly think he's going to be, the second he shows up on WWE, he's either going to be on Raw or SmackDown challenging for like the IC or United States Championship, or if Roderick Strong's still in NXT, they could do this. He could team up with Roderick Strong to take down Damon. Well, I was going to say Damon Kemp, but that would be kind of a 2-on-1 situation. That's why that Damon Kemp heel turn is just so weird because he's why would he leave a stable? I don't know. We'll talk about that another day.
Yeah, this is weird.
Yeah, like I don't understand. It's really weird, but yeah. I mean, it sucks to see him go because I think he was doing some good things in AEW, but if he thinks that Triple H can use him better, then that's completely up to him. And it just really that definitely puts the kibosh now on the Elite Undisputed Era feud they were going to do now because the Elite are suspended and Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly aren't going to be back for a while, and now they just lost the other big member of it. The only other way they can really do this feud is if Roderick Strong jumps ship to AEW now, but I don't think now that Triple H is taken over, I don't think Roderick Strong's going anywhere. And the only reason I could see him going is if he wants to be with Marina Shafir, but like I think Roderick Strong, he only works 1 day a week right now, so I don't really see the reason for him to have to jump ship. So
yeah,
just makes you question why they even did the turn if no one was going to be able to be on TV for a while.
I don't get it. Yeah.
But anyhow, what are your thoughts on Bobby Fish being gone and everything?
It's honestly like he didn't want to be there. It looked like, so what's the point of keeping him?
Yeah. And then we didn't talk about it yesterday because I forgot to. Royal Crest is coming up, and the reason I'm talking about this is we're getting a big tag match on that show. FTR are going to have the first title defense of the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Titles against Aussie Open at Royal Quest. I think it's going to be night 1. I don't know how they're doing this because I know they'll do like if it's going to be a New Japan Strong show and they're just going to they'll call them Royal Quest, but they'll be like but it'll be taped and will get released later. Or if it's going to be like an actual show and they'll do Royal Quest Night 1 and then Royal Quest Night 2. But I'm really excited to see this. I have loved watching Aussie Open when they've shown up on AEW and teamed up with Will Ospreay and everything. And I think FTR going over to New Japan is going to bring some eyeballs to New Japan World and everything. I wish the match was going to happen on Dynamite. I don't understand why they're not doing it on Dynamite. That would make more sense because more people would see it. But it's going to be awesome stuff. I imagine FTR are going to keep the titles because there's no reason for them to lose the championships right now. I think they're going to. They may hold all these belts for the rest of the year, honestly. The only the titles I could see them losing first is probably the ROH tag titles. That's the titles they've been defending the most. So you look at. I mean, I don't know if you're going to watch it or not. You might watch it later on. But what do you think of that match happening right there?
It's interesting. Like it's going to be a great match, no doubt about it. Between two like the top teams in the world right now.
Yeah,
should be really, really good and a great show.
I make it winner take all for the New Japan Strong Tag titles as well, just to get FTR another champion. They'd have like 4 championships if they.
Yeah, they have 2 or 3, I think, right now, right?
Yeah, they have the AAA, ROH, and IWGP heavyweight. So I think realistically they could win the junior tag titles too, because I think they fit the weight class division. They should just go win those belts too.
I think they do, yeah.
So they should win. And then they should go win the Impact tag titles, the NWA tag titles, and then eventually the AEW. They should just win every tag title that they could possibly can.
The belt collectors.
Yeah. And then they should like throw the championships down on the ground and say, "We're going to WWE to win those belts." And
you never know. They liked Triple H.
Yeah.
Seems more realistic now than it did a few months ago when they said. Where the rumors came out that he wasn't interested in them.
Yeah.
To push those guys to the moon.
Absolutely. Now let's do some predictions for AEW tonight and Rampage Friday. What a difference a day makes. We do these predictions, and now one match is completely different than it was from last night. The first match is going to be Sammy Guevara versus Jon Moxley in the AEW Grand Slam Tournament of Champions semifinals match. I think this is going to be a obvious win for Jon Moxley. There's really no reason for Sammy Guevara to win. I think he's going to win this match and go on to the finals because I think Sammy Guevara has a 0% chance of winning. I think he's going to get like help and stuff like that, but Jon Moxley will overcome the odds and win. I could see something happen where like 2.0 try to help him, and Claudio Castagnoli and Willa Yuta have to even the odds and everything. So, what do you think's happening here?
Pretty obvious. 0% chance. Douchebag Sammy wins. 100% chance Jon Moxley wins.
Yeah. So what we thought was a tag match between Toni Storm and Hikaru Shida. Now it's Toni Storm and Athena versus Serena Deeb and Dr. Britt Baker DMD. Boy, I like how, by the way, that was like a big seller point of Doc, and she just found it. She just found a tag team partner like right away. Like they didn't do an angle back. Yeah, they didn't do an angle back.
They didn't even try.
So like, what was the point of even doing that, anyways? I think I'm gonna stick with the prediction I had yesterday. I'm gonna pick Athena and Toni Storm to win. I actually said they could use this to set up a future title match, but now that it's Athena in the match, I think Athena is going to be the one that challenges Toni Storm for the interim belt in the future. So there you go. Who are you picking?
Same team. Like I just think that they need the win.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter anyway, because Britt Baker is going to be the biggest talking point coming out of the match anyways.
Yeah.
So
it has to be.
Yeah. Because there was storyline history to go with Athena and Toni Storm where, the night that Athena returned from her injury back in NXT, you could make the argument, took the spotlight of Toni Storm's big NXT debut at NXT TakeOver 30. So there is history there. So
yeah.
Will they use the history? Probably not. Then we have the last match on the show. It's Chris Jericho versus Bryan Danielson in the second AEW Grand Slam Tournament of Champions semifinals match. This could really go either way. Because you have the Daniel Garcia caveat in here now. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Bryan Danielson wins. I think Jericho's going to try to cheat this time, and Daniel Garcia is going to prevent it from happening. And it's going to lead to a confrontation on the Athletics Stadium show where Jericho confronts him about it, and it sets up Daniel Garcia getting beaten down or something and being out of the group, out of the Jericho Appreciation Society. Go on, see ya, bye. What do you think?
I think Bryan's gonna win.
There you go. Do you think that Daniel Garcia thing's gonna happen, or do you think he's just gonna win clean?
I think there's gonna be shenanigans. I think Jericho's gonna try to cheat. like you said, like Daniel Garcia is going to stop him. I think there's going to be a big beatdown at the end of the show. You never know. It could just be a fucking ruse the entire time, and if Daniel Garcia never liked Daniel Bryan, like Bryan Danielson, never looked up to him, and then he just wanted to beat his ass. Stupid as that.
And then for Rampage, we only have one match announced. It's Samoa Joe defending his ROH World Television Championship against Josh Woods. I think this is going to be a hell of a match. I think Samoa Joe is retaining the championship. He just recently returned, and it would not make sense for him to suffer a loss in his first match back. That wouldn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
So I think this will be a hell of a match, though, because they're both very technical and everything. So I'm going to check AEW's Instagram and see if there's anything announced for this week.
If anything, I'd say in a few hours.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm just going to check what... Check.
And just basically the list of matches and a hype package for Jericho and Bryan.
Yeah, nothing announced. So that's basically the end of AEW Spark. You survived your first. Actually, you technically survived your second ever episode. Actually, because we did two of the same episode pretty much.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah, tried to keep it different. Tried to have some things be different. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Do you have anything you want to plug or promote? You got to plug or promote something, or else we're just gonna sit here until
AEW Spark.
What are we doing tomorrow? You know what to plug for tomorrow. What are we recording tomorrow?
We're doing a retro, I think, right?
Yeah, what's the retro? What's the retro?
It's a retro. I
You don't
forgot already.
You don't even remember the retro that you picked.
I don't even remember what I picked already.
Well, until you remember, we're just gonna sit here until you remember.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna help you or anything either.
October 9th, 2017.
Okay. If you want to know why he picked that show, tune into that retro and you'll find out why he picked it. As for me, you can check out AEW Spark. Chris is gonna be on every episode until he dies. So.
No.
Yes, you are.
No.
You're gonna be on every single episode for the rest of your life. Yeah, you can check out the retros. You can check out Rundown. We're doing the Rundown on Saturday. Talking about WWE and some more AEW stuff. Chris is going to be happy. He gets to talk about WWE and not even...
Yeah!
He might not even mention AEW. The second that gets mentioned, he might run away.
Yeah, let's go.
And that's pretty much it, guys. We will talk to you guys later. Don't hang up yet, because I got to hit stop the recording. We will talk to you guys later.
Podcast has concluded. Be sure to check out more group discussion as far as AEW content is concerned, and check out more content from For the Win Productions.